Thursday, December the 12th, we are flying through December. Welcome to Threshold Thursday. I'm going to talk about this WOD without having done it myself yet. And that's for a very specific reason. I have some notes in front of me that I wanted to be able to reference, and I wouldn't be able to do that if I was sweating and out of breath like I usually am. So, I also know how this is going to go for me. I didn't feel the need to test necessarily, although I will be doing it. So, one thing that we've been working on this cycle is removing our preconceived notion of what a lactate threshold workout is. Although what we previously were doing a lot more of it, that will come back in the future, was a lot of built-in rest. We fully recover so that we can then sprint really hard, and we do intervals of that. That is one of the gold standards of lactate threshold movement training. The real gold standard is just like monostructural, just sprinting on a bike, just row sprints, and that's boring. So we just don't do that on threshold day. Now here's the thing I wanted to say with notes in front of me. This cycle, we've been doing a lot of different stuff on Thursdays on purpose because we know that there are some people who don't always, while there are many people who come Monday, Wednesday, Friday as their 3 days, there are others who are like, Tuesday and Thursday are my days. And then there's like an X factor day that we don't know. But if that were the case, and you were one of those Tuesday, Thursday people, that's a pretty good well-roundedness as far as CrossFit's concerned. That's aerobic capacity, that is intensity, that is sprinting. There's a lot of good stimuli being achieved on Tuesday and Thursday, fitness-wise, and then throw in a third day, and that's I'm sure you're getting a lot of good well-roundedness. But we don't typically do a lot of skills on Thursday, so it could be the kind of thing where maybe you're trying to avoid skills, but we, as CrossFitters, need to be well-rounded, not just across stimuli, but also across the experience and exposure we have to the different movements available to us. So, all that to say, we haven't done a hanging gymnastic movement on a Thursday since September the 12th. And on that day, it was rope climbs. And prior to that, 1 week before that, we did toes to bar on September the 15th or September the 5th. We haven't done a pull-up on a Thursday. And this was because we had a Fran cycle. We also had, we were doing a lot of pull-ups on Fridays for a very specific reason. But this cycle has been a little bit more wide open to us. We haven't done a pull-up on a Thursday since August 2nd. So Thursday heads, you got pull-ups today. And that changes the calculus of how this WOD will go for some people and opens the door for a very specific stimulus achievement for people who have these movements already. So 2 groups. There's one that's like, hey, I'm bad at or I hate wall walks and pull-ups. And then there's another group that's like, well, that's a low volume of these things. I'm going to get a threshold stimulus from this because I'm going to breeze through these at this small volume. Some people are going to be in between those. Just know that even though Thursday has traditionally been our threshold day, we also recognize that Thursdays are important for us because we don't have strength. We can say we have a 40-minute window to do the WOD today. And even though moving fast is, of course, the goal, we want you to feel like you can do pull-ups and wall walks and the RX version of those without feeling pressed by a time cap. So you do a 40-minute cap today. That's taking your coach into account. And also, we don't think you're going to need that. But we're comparing it to yesterday, right? Yesterday had push-ups and pistols in it, but we also wanted to force you to make a decision about how to modify and go quickly in a 10-minute AMRAP. Today's not that, right? Today does give you the ability, the time, the space, the context to work on a thing, but also get that real intense stimulus if you want it. So people who can fly through pull-ups and wall walks, this is a race to the finish line. No doubt about it. That's what it's going to be like for me today. Humble brag, I guess. But others, if you're working on pull-ups, we hope that 5 is a good, challenging amount for you to do, right? I even hope there are some people out there for whom they're licking their chops at 5 because they're like, I can do that unbroken for a couple rounds, and then later on I'm going to have to switch to sets of 3 and 2 or even singles. but it's that getting to the threes and twos and singles that we're excited about. And then the wall walks are just chip away, right? Our hope for today is that there's enough to do between sets of wall walks that every time you get back to them, they are recovered enough, like a B- level recovery, that you feel like you can give it a consistent effort. That's the goal. Consistent effort. They don't have to be quote unquote unbroken wall walks. Okay. Took me 5 minutes to get to that. The WOD is 12 rounds, 3 wall walks, 5 pull-ups, 7 calories on the bike. From a logistical standpoint, we think we can fit everyone on a bike today because 7, some people can fly through 7, but also we can have some people start on the bike and move backwards through it. I'm fine with that too. This should feel like a day where you have the time, context to work on some things that you didn't have the time to do yesterday because it was a different stimulus, all right? Threshold Thursday, and we'll get back to the sort of gold standard threshold stuff at some point in the future, but for now, we like this. No built-in rest, right? No built-in rest, no max effort movements, just some movements that you can hopefully try to set a goal to go unbroken on throughout. All right, enjoy.